Studio 2. In this class, we have been training ourselves to know what it's like working in a simulated studio environment with solo projects and group work alike. The CG Bootcamp. For this assessment, I learned how to animate a character in Blender using FK Animation, and then I transported those animations into Unreal Engine 5 where it could be used during real-time animation sequencing. I also learned how to create my own original effects using the Niagara system in Unreal Engine 5, and this helped me to create the light show effect that appears around the rose that appears within my scene. I also learned how to manipulate the camera to provide different side effects such as depth of field, chromatic abrasions, and color grade intensity. My specialization. Using Blender, I was able to learn the professional workflows and use non-destructive forms of modeling with add-ons such as Bool Tool. I learned that topology is massively important for a 3D artist to be aware of, and while it is time-consuming, it results in models that are easier to UV unwrap and texture further down the pipeline. And this helped me to create clean working meshes that flow as part of the production pipeline. By having reduced the amount of faces that appear in my models, my computer can operate at a higher level of performance and can be used by the whole team on most devices. To refine and speed up the unwrapping process, I learned how to automate and use sharp edge selection to define my seams on hard surface models for the purpose of UV unwrapping them, and how to apply textures and shaders to my created meshes. Seams act as cuts on the object's mesh, and a bad UV unwrap means an unusable asset. For finished rendered products, this is one of the most essential skills and is only made easier when working in conjunction with the other skills that I have learned throughout this time period. Cross-discipline. For this project, I created a short TV intro for a D&D styled animation. I was able to work through the pre-production stage and was able to produce an animatic that showcases the concept. The storyboarding and basic sketches were made in Adobe Photoshop, but were then edited in Toon Boom Harmony 22. I was unsuccessful in finding a music student to work with me on this project, and the only available projects that I could find were those that other animation students required help with. This is something that I am disappointed with, but I tried to push my work to complete what I could regarding what I was able to. Transferable skills. The transferable skill that I chose to pursue during this period was the inspiration and motivation skill, and I pursued this by using deliberate practice as I really resonated with the writings in the 8 Tips for the Artist Struggling with Motivation. And the idea of discipline over motivation really helped me to push through slump periods and to not give up on a task or project until I had at least learnt the skills to make an asset, even if it was subpar in my expected execution. I decided to practice with something outside my comfort zone to see how much growth I had over the process, and to see how well I can continue to push through with a task that I don't find enjoyable in the same way as with modeling or animation. To that end, I began teaching myself posing and human anatomy, as this is something I can still utilize in my creative industry, but it is outside my current realm of experience. I used Photoshop as I could easily document my project process, and a watercolor brush to help keep my lines loose and quick. The Aftermath project. In the Aftermath project, I was able to practice and implement my specialization work with its shortcuts and processes that helped to reduce countless errors from my work. I was responsible for 3D asset design and creation, but I also experimented with creating a color path for multiple scenes within Toon Boom, expanding my knowledge on the vector-based system that it uses for line art and coloring alike. As part of the post-production work, I was also in charge of anything related to audio editing and sourcing royalty-free sound effects and music for animation. I expanded my knowledge in 3 programs over the course of this project, but I already had a basis in each, and as such I only really honed my skills as opposed to learning new ones, and think I could have pushed more to learn new skills throughout. What did I learn this trimester? I learned how to create character models with refined mesh, how to use non-destructive editing tools to create a high-quality mesh. I explored different modifiers, vertex groups, and shading capabilities, automated UV unwrapping, creating IK rigs. and adding empties to manipulate them. Rendering techniques for lighting and camera manipulation, how to prepare different files for use in different programs. Um, and then in Unreal Engine, I learned how to block out and assemble basic environments in 3D space, how to gain access to vast libraries of assets and textures alike, and how to apply them to existing assets within my scene. I gained experience with the Niagara VFX system within Unreal Engine 5. I learned how to do timeline creation and animation manipulation in the sequence window, and manipulated camera effects in this as well to create tension and add visual storytelling. And in Toon Boom, I learned how to manipulate static drawings to move through scenes so it kept in line with our line art, and how to work around the cached information manipulation, which syncs different scenes together using the same drawing. If you like copy and paste one frame and then I copy a frame from one section and paste it in another, it will result in them being linked. But for our purposes, I was able to take just the drawings or just the coloring for if something's position changed, but only a portion of the actual physical drawing itself was different. This is shown in my GIF animation that's down here. There were times where in the handstand I wanted to just copy and paste um, the same frame, but then slightly alter the line work so that it helped fit within the frame. And if I hadn't learned how to manipulate these cached information assets, then it wouldn't have been able to. It wouldn't have been as easy. What did I learn about my own practice? I learnt that time management is the biggest killer as a 3D artist, as if I fall behind on any of the assets, it would slow down the whole production of the team. And an animator can't work if there is nothing in front of them to create art with. This trimester gave me an excellent chance to define what I want to do in the future, and I firmly believe that I will continue to pursue this asset artist career path alongside my 3D animation. By trying to diversify and explore my skills this trimester, I have found that I have more of an affinity towards 3D animation and asset production than with 2D hand-drawn animation. And as an asset artist, it is a skill I should continue to work on and refine, and acknowledge that because of the diversity of my chosen position, it will take me longer to become an expert in my field. Deliberate practice and time management are the two greatest things that I have taken away from this to help me continue to improve in my own industry. How do I plan to improve the future? I plan to continue to work on my unfinished projects, refining them to a point that I can feel proud of adding them to my portfolio with my current skills and the understanding of the workflows. I'm also going to 3D model as often as I can and blend that with different mediums such as digital and traditional art so that I can create my own unique style. I also have struggled with every assessment piece to just do what is necessary to complete it. I always find myself going back and refining things that I do not need to, and it is only in the Aftermath project that I was able to finally break that cycle because of the dozens of extra hours that would have been lost if I'd focused on every little detail. Instead, that would ultimately be covered up in our final shots. I also want to go through and participate in different challenges such as the 11 Second Club, and making sure that I treat my own projects as projects, giving them a set timeline and accounting for what went wrong, where, and why it took me longer. That way I can not only have a better understanding of the workflows, but also be able to price my work if I decide to go freelance. How would I grade my own work? For project 2, as a whole, I feel unfulfilled with how my overall finish on it was. For the first project, I took the average of the 3 sub projects. So that was the CG Bootcamp, that was the transferable skills, and then that was also the cross discipline. I believe that I did reasonably well in both my CG Bootcamp and my transferable skills assessments, but I know that not being able to document any work alongside someone from a different path, a different industry within SAE, is very much going to hurt that process and hurt my grade for that. But I think that overall I deserve a better credit for the quantity of work and the quality of work that I was able to produce. For my specialization, while I didn't really think I produced as much work as I wanted to have at least 3 fully rendered models and one that was fully rigged and ready to be taken into Unreal Engine. I still think I produced more than enough different 3D assets and performed enough research to really show that I had begun to really expand my knowledge in a meaningful way regarding 3D modeling and hard surface modeling in particular. And then for the Aftermath project, as much as our animation turned out extremely well, and I'm very proud with how it is, I felt like a lot of the work that I contributed was not really meaningful in the end. All the assets that I provided, all the work that I did could have very easily just been removed, with the exception of the audio and the door. Everything else could have just been left out, and I didn't really get much of a say in that, as it was just as our group felt like it was too pulling away to make these set pieces, to make these assets that made larger set pieces, and instead they chose to just fill them with 2D assets. I think that, yeah, I think that while the overall project probably deserves a higher grade, I think that I probably only deserve a credit for it because I didn't really contribute as much as I wanted to. Overall, I think that that I should be able to earn at least a solid credit and maybe a distinction for my work um, that I was able to accomplish throughout the trimester. Thank you.